What's up, guys? If you still have all your money sitting in a savings account getting 0.001%, you're doing it wrong. Today we're going to talk about 3 different savings accounts alternatives and how you can optimize interest on your idle cash. I promise you, you don't want to miss it. Welcome back, guys. If it's your first time here, my name is John Boyd. I'm a certified financial planner and I'm the founder and lead wealth advisor at Modern Wealth. If you like today's content, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you keep getting content just like this. And of course, if you need help with your own financial plan, reach out to us at www.modernwealth.com. That's modern spelled with no vowels, wealth.com. Now, it's literally no exaggeration. The national average rate of interest that you get on a normal savings account right now is still close to nothing, despite interest rates going up so much. So something that I'm constantly battling when I'm working with new clients is constantly cleaning up how they're holding their cash, right? Despite the rise of these savings accounts alternatives, people still are not adopting them. So today we're going to break down 3 different ones, and let's start off with perhaps the easiest one to get access to, and that's a high yield savings account, or HYSA. Now, a high yield savings account is going to get you close to what the Fed funds rate is. Right now, in this interest rate environment, your average high yield savings account, you might be getting around, let's call it 3.8 to 4% or so in interest. So if you don't have at least this set up by the end of this call, again, like, you're doing it wrong. We got to get this set up. There's really no catch to it. It's FDIC insured. It is oftentimes, these are banks that are online. There's no brick or mortar branches associated with them. That's why they're able to give the higher interest. There's usually other ways that these banks are making money, but a high yield savings account is a no-brainer. FDIC insured. You should be doing it. Now, the $1 million question is, well, how can we get higher interest than that? Right? What can we do to get a little bit better interest than a high yield savings account? Well, this is where a money market fund comes in to play. Money market fund, I apologize for my ugly writing, but that's going to get you around, depending on the type of fund that you utilize, that might be anywhere from 4% to 4.2% in interest. Now, a money market fund is technically not FDIC insured, but it's a product made of ultra short duration forms of debt, things like commercial paper, sometimes ultra short duration treasuries, right? It's a very safe place to park cash. It's going to look like a mutual fund, but it really isn't. And the reason why is that it always maintains a par value of $1. That means that if you put $100 in, you should pull out $100 at any time. Now, these money market funds, after the 2008 financial crisis, some of them got a bad rep because there was one particular money market fund that broke the buck. In other words, that par value of 1, it went below it. Now, investors were ultimately made whole for that particular fund, but it scared people, and there was ultimately reform done after to prevent that from ever happening. Ultimately, money market funds are the most popular cash alternative for large institutions and endowments. And that's ultimately where a lot of high net worth clients park their cash too. You're going to get a higher interest rate on it. And the other thing to keep in mind is that with a money market fund, you can be more creative about the taxation of your interest, which is another reason why in many cases I prefer a money market fund over a high yield savings account. So what I mean by that is, let's say you live in a high tax state like California. If you have all your cash sitting in a high yield savings account, the interest that you generate on that cash is going to be taxable at the federal level and the state level. Well, if you buy a money market fund, and let's say the underlying investment vehicle behind it is all ultra short duration treasuries. Treasuries, the interest that you generate on them, isn't taxable at the state level. So not only do you get a higher interest rate potentially than a high yield savings account, but you also save taxes on state income tax. The other benefit, if you're someone in a very high tax bracket, you can also be creative and buy municipal-based money market funds, meaning that the interest that you generate will be tax-free on the federal and state level. Now, again, you're going to need to be careful with that because sometimes the yields are a lot lower, but if you do the math, sometimes the taxable equivalent yields are going to be higher. So if you're with me so far, high yield savings account and a money market fund are going to be your two primary vehicles for parking cash. Again, by the end of today's video, you absolutely should be utilizing at least one of those. Now, if you're looking at this and you're thinking, well, I still want to enhance the yield on my cash a little bit more, what else is there that I can utilize? What we can use is a short duration ETF. And what I mean by that is buy an ETF. This isn't a specific recommendation for this particular fund, so don't come after me, SEC and FINRA and regulators, but something like SGov. SGov is a ultra short duration treasury ETF. The treasuries inside of it mature between 0 and 3 months. And the whole reason why that might be lucrative to someone is the interest rate that you can get on that. That might be closer to, let's say, 4.4% in this environment. Now, the deal with that, because it's an ETF format, the value isn't going to be like a money market fund, right? A money market fund, you look at it at any given moment, it's going to be stable. An ETF, it's going to move around a little bit. Not a ton, but it will move around a little bit. And then there's always the risk that you enter an environment, let's say like 2020, when everything was being sold off in a mass exodus due to COVID. There's a risk that the price drops temporarily because everybody's rushing to pull their money out of the fund. Now, again, do I think it's realistic that fund would explode or something like that would go to zero? It's unlikely, but if that's something that's a risk to you or you're nervous about putting your life savings into, I would consider that. But if you're looking to optimize your yield and you're okay with all of that, then that could certainly be a really good option. So there you have it, guys. Hopefully you've learned a little bit more about where you can park your cash. If you still need help after this video, reach out to us at www.modernwealth.com. That's modern spelled with no vowels wealth.com. It's been a ton of fun, guys, and I'll see you next time.